Welcome to the Being Better Every Day podcast. Whoops, and I already hit my mic. There we go. So, we are doing things a little bit differently today, and I am sitting in my backyard because it is 60 degrees and sunny, and I'm recording this a week before it'll air. And normally, I have kind of a formal outline or a specific topic, but it's been a while since we did a girl chat episode. So I thought we would do a girl chat episode, and I had written down a couple of topics that I want to talk about. Welcome to the Being Better Everyday podcast, where we make your days more peacefully productive while you're juggling all the things. I'm your host, Julie Wenslick, a millennial mom, finance professional, and founder of P&W Designs. I know that as a mom, business owner, corporate girly, or a combination of all three like myself, sometimes life can feel like a lot. With the simplicity in systems and being better every day, we create habits and routines that support your life, create calm in the chaos, and put the you back in your everyday. Grab those headphones, put on your shoes, and join me on a walk while we dig into today's episode. In the beautiful weather, I think we should start with summer intentions. I have met with a couple of people in the last month outside of my professional job or for P&W Designs, and a number of them have been like, you do it all, and or I don't know how you do it all, and or you do a lot of things. I still do custom planners. I have been doing graphic design work and branding, which we will get into more in an upcoming episode. And it obviously takes a lot of time management, it takes a lot of juggling. And for me, I also get a lot of like self-gratification in it. It feeds my need to be worthy, which is a whole nother topic. But that kind of brought about the reflection of how do I want my summer to feel? So, one of the things that's the best for my husband and I is that we have our best conversations in the car. I don't know if anyone else is like this. We also have had a lot of long car rides in our life. We grew up 5 hours away from where we currently live, and for a long time we were going once a month back up north. So we have certainly had our share of car rides. But in April, we went to the Kalahari for my niece's dance competition. And my niece's dance competition, we had never been to a live dance competition for her before. And obviously, like, it's a great reason to just go to the Kalahari, spend time as a family. And it's about 3.5 hours from where we live. So on Sunday, on the ride home, we were having some conversations around other big topics, finances being one of them, which we'll get into. But one of the things that I brought up was summer intentions. For some reason last year, we felt like the summer like just flew by. And all of a sudden we're trying to cram everything that felt like summer into August and September. And I don't know, it just felt like we wasted the summer in a lot of ways. And looking back, I can't put my finger on like one specific thing that made it feel that way. It just did. So we started talking about what we call our summer intentions. We used to call it our summer bucket list, but I feel like my husband doesn't like that term because bucket list would mean something you wouldn't normally do, whereas intentions is obviously things where you're just like setting intentions around your time. So we made a list of a couple of things that we wanted to make sure that we do, and I highly encourage you have a conversation with your significant other or spouse or partner about this as well. If you're going into summer, especially in the Midwest, especially where we like want to enjoy the weather as much as possible, and kind of have that conversation of like what do we want our summer to look like? What do we want, the most beautiful months of the year to look like? So a couple of things that we talked about was weekly family date nights. And in the wintertime, we had set that intention of every other week. In the summertime, we are going to set that intention of weekly because we have been enjoying going to bingo at the Borough in Victoria, if you're local, as well as our local drive-in on Thursday nights has old cars. And it's like 50 old cars, and the drive-in is like super cheap. So weekly, we're either going to go to bingo or we're going to go to the drive-in and have like a walk, ice cream date, dinner date at the drive-in and look at old cars and hang out. And it's like 2 miles from our house. Ideally, if we were the family that had bikes, we would bike there, but currently we neither of us have bikes, so we'll probably just end up driving there and walking around. But that's one of our main summer intentions is just like weekly family intentional time. I So we're doing weekly date nights. We are still doing monthly date nights, like actual date husband and I hiring a babysitter. We are going on kind of mini vacations. So in June, my parents booked a VRBO for us to have a cabin weekend. July, we will spend probably 2 weekends up north in Wisconsin, going on the boat, enjoying our time that way. August, we have our annual Mackinac trip with my extended family. And then September, we have an Airbnb trip with my mother-in-law. Ideally, we will get to the North Shore as well. I just don't know if I'll be able to make it happen or not, but I really want to go to the North Shore and just like get away, go hiking, no signal, all that kind of stuff. What else did we put on our summer intentions list? We, I can't even remember. I think a lot of it is around just making sure. Oh, so the last thing we put on our summer intentions list was for me in particular, I tend to find it very easy to work. And I don't want the summer to feel rushed because of it, or I don't want to make choices where I'm choosing work over going paddleboarding or going kayaking or whatever. So I had put on the list to do weekly paddleboard or kayak. I have both. And we have decided that I will not be working on Saturdays from 8 to 3:30. And that may seem like not a big deal to some of you, but if you were in a position where you were working full time or momming full time and trying to grow business on the side, you know that you tend to take any crack of the day and try to get some work done. And as a projector, as somebody who wants to, intentionally enjoy my life, we are making the decision, or at least I made the decision that I'm not working on Saturdays, and I'm asking my husband to help me support that because, again, I'm one who will easily choose to work. So, very simple, but again, it's more about time as a family, intentional, choosing, make sure we're enjoying the summer months as much as possible. The other thing that was a major conversation with my husband and I that trip, the Kalahari weekend, was hard financial decisions. My husband has been running his business as his only form of income since 2020. Little backstory here, kind of interesting timing, but he has spent going on 20 years. Man, I feel old. 20 years in the lawn industry, either working for golf courses or working for other lawn care companies. And when we graduated during the financial crisis, he was unable to find a job in finance, so he took a lawn care job. He then, over the couple of, I don't know how many summers, but he switched between three different lawn care companies and eventually ended up with a high-end lawn care company out on Lake Minnetonka. So in 2019, when we had Danny, he was working full time for this high-end lawn care company, and then he was starting to take on small clients as side hustle money back in 2019. So my first 6 months postpartum, my husband was working like 60 plus hours a week in lawn care. So as we went into 2020, like even before, I remember talking about it on the plane and like, what is it going to look like for us to feasibly be able for him to quit his full-time job and just work on his sidelines because it felt like he was working just for daycare and he was working a ton of hours just for daycare. And so when we were sitting on the plane ride back in January of 2020, we kind of like penciled it out and we're like, yeah, he could do this. So in even before the pandemic hit, he had decided to quit his full-time job and go all in on just like his own customers. And at that time he just had a push mower. And obviously the pandemic hit. It worked out for the best because we also ended up not having daycare that summer, besides 1 day a week. So really he was mostly a full-time dad and then had, I think it was like a day and a half of lawns on the side. Fast forward to now, he has been running his business with just basically a push mower for 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. So 4 years. We are now 5 years into well, okay, four, whatever. This is his fifth year in business. And he has started to take on some pretty large accounts where push mowing is just not feasible. And these are like $4 or $5 million houses on Lake Minnetonka, so it'll raise his price point as well. And so we have decided to invest in a trailer and a standing lawnmower. And this was a hard conversation for us because I look sometimes too much at black and white numbers. I look at the profitability of a business, I look at how much we're spending on daycare, and I'm like, is it really necessary? And I often lose sight of like the goals and the value that this business brings to just him in general as a person. So we did spend some of our Kalahari weekend having those conversations around what makes sense, what is his goals, what makes him happy, and then kind of, it took me a little bit to kind of get around the black and white numbers and realize regardless if I would make a different decision because I don't obviously enjoy lawn care, it is the right decision for him and his business. So during April, we invested $10,000 in lawn equipment, which was a lot, especially since my work bonus, which I usually get every spring, was supposed to be paid out on April 19th. And at this point, I have the amount confirmed, but I don't have the pay date. So it could be May 3rd as you're listening to this, or it could be, middle of May, it could be June, who knows? That is out of my control. And so therefore, we're just going with it. And, it shows you that not every, even though if you know your financial systems, like we've had those last three episodes, that doesn't mean that couples don't have financial stress. It doesn't mean that finance conversations, they can be hard. But I think, what it reminded me is that it's not always black and white, and that sometimes you have to make decisions based on what the best interest of the family, the best interest of your spouse, um, especially for their own unique individual happiness. So that was the second big conversation we had this month. The other thing that I usually recap kind of during a girl chat episode is like, what things went good, what things went bad. Well, the good was obviously that we did get to have a Kalahari weekend with my family. We also went up north and saw both my parents and my in-laws, which was nice. We celebrated Danny's fifth birthday, and her birthday tends to always be kind of multiple weekends because we don't do a big party. So we celebrated on her actual birthday weekend with my in-laws. We celebrated in the Kalahari weekend with my brother and his family. We celebrated individually with Danny. So she certainly, only child got spoiled, but her fifth birthday went great, which was, definitely a good time to have as a family. The other thing that I have been continuing to do in the month of April, and if you've been around this podcast for a while, this is not new to me, is therapy. And I did take a couple months hiatus on accident because I just forgot to schedule an appointment. But I had one right before we went to the Kalahari. And April had some hards too because we had ended up taking Danny out of daycare for 2 weeks because strep was going around and we hadn't exposed her yet. And so we just pivoted and decided, you know what, we're not going to get strep. And so that Friday before we went to the Kalahari, I scheduled an appointment with my therapist, and she's been doing a technique called brain spotting, which I'm not going to explain to you because I don't understand it. And instead of focusing on the negative, which sometimes I have a hard time kind of like tapping into my emotions and whatever, we did like this positive brain spotting thing, but it ended up really helping me make a decision to rest over the Kalahari weekend. I didn't bring my computers, I didn't work, and it was exactly what I needed. And that actually was what, going back to the summer intentions, that's what inspired the summer intentions was my therapy appointment of like reminding me that instead of focusing on my worth through my business, that I need to kind of remind myself of like why I'm doing it and that life is more than just work and income. So it was definitely worth it and something I'm continuing to do every 3 weeks or so as I can. The final part of April, that was a huge highlight for me, was, for lack of a better word, I would call it networking. And that's kind of a stupid word. I don't like that word. But I have, in the last 2 months, been able to go to a group meetup of women called Female Founders. And Female Founders was started by one of my friends and her friend, Nikki, who also did my current brand photos. And It's a group of about 20 women who get together who all own small businesses, somewhere between new businesses and, businesses that are 20 years old, all generally women between 30 and 45. And I have already made like friendships in 2 months out of this group. I am so thankful for the opportunity that this group has given me. I got to meet other graphic designers. I got to meet my friend Anna and get to know her more and help her with her business. I It's given me energy around my business. It's given me people to talk to when I feel so lonely in my corporate job. It's, I don't know, it's just given me life. So if you don't have something in your life like that, I encourage you, even if it's like a friendship group, like you don't realize how much you need that kind of socialization until you have it. And then you're like, oh my God, I miss this. So super thankful for that. It's given me an opportunity to, I had coffee with another photographer in the area, and we're going to do some work together. I, like I said, I've been working on some website work, I've been working on some branding work, and I feel like this female founders group has given me the confidence to kind of step into this next phase of my business. And I mean, that is just, you know, you can't undervalue the confidence of having other people in your corner. That's for sure. The other thing that I'm proud of myself for, kind of in that same realm, was I was willing to meet up for coffee with a photographer named Anna, which I also think is hilarious because right now, as I'm recording this, I have 3 different clients, all named Anna, and I only have 5 clients that I'm currently working with. I don't know what the odds of that are, but I am not super extroverted and I get kind of awkward around new people, hence why talking to a camera works great for me. But she had reached out and said, "Hey, we should meet up." And I'm thankful I did. It was a really great conversation. It also reminded me how much I do know about running a small business. And we are going to do some work together in the future. I can't wait to see how her brand grows. And yeah, it's just kind of, again, that reminder that one little connection can lead to a lot of things between female founders, between my 2 friends now, Anna, uh, and the other businesses I'm helping. It's just been a really cool growth moment in April, while continuing to muddle through some hard things in other areas of my life. So as we go into May and the summer months, you're going to see a little bit of a pivot on the Being Better Everyday podcast, and I will talk about this more as I in the next couple of episodes, but I will be going down to twice a month during the summer months for the same reason that I talked about earlier in this episode about the summer intentions. This podcast is not going away, but I want to make sure that I'm enjoying the summer months as much as possible. And I do edit my own audio and video, which means it takes time, and I'm looking to have more time to do other things in my life. So I will be here still giving you episodes, still interviewing other female entrepreneurs and or other women who are, what I say, juggling all the things and trying to be better every day. I'm really excited for the upcoming episode, an upcoming interview with somebody who has been in my life for many years and has been extremely influential, which you will hear. I'm also looking forward to talking more about what I am doing with my business and how it's pivoted from the original intentions in 2021 and how I've gotten here. So stay tuned. But until next time, keep on taking one step towards being better every day. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Being Better Everyday podcast. To see any visuals, head over to my YouTube channel. Links, socials, and resources mentioned can always be found in today's show notes. I truly appreciate you leaving a rating and review to help me reach more women looking to build systems to be peacefully productive. If you are looking for more, you can always find me on Instagram at julie.pwdesigns, sharing the behind the scenes of my everyday life as a millennial mom, corporate girly, and small business owner. Until next time, keep on taking one step at a time towards your version of being better every day.